Okay, hello everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's webinar. What BombBomb learned watching 5,000 videos. Madeline has a much better title. Madeline, you're still on the line with me too, right?
I sure am, Mike.
Fantastic. Well, thanks also to everybody who's tuning in or letting us know from the chat where you are, where you're from. Really, I appreciate it a lot. It helps me give the presenter, helps me give Madeline a little context about who's on the call. And, I love when I see stuff like the coast to coast that we've got going on. We've got everybody from Happy Valley, Goose Bay out in Labrador, all the way out to Surrey. And I love seeing all the highs that are going on. I always say, you never know. Referral opportunity, right? So you never really know.
That's right.
Let me get us started. So the first thing I just want to remind everybody is sometimes you might have some buffering issues if you're watching in your office, in a bullpen, whatever it may be. Sometimes you have some buffering. If that's the case, the best thing to do is to refresh it. Give it an F5 or Control R on your keyboard. That'll refresh the screen. Make sure that everything's going. And the other thing also is sometimes, some people say, oh, I want to see better quality. If you click at the bottom right of your YouTube, there's a little gear. You can click on that and up the quality to HD. Now, one thing I do want you to keep in mind is if you do that and you're running on Wi-Fi, well, then, what that means is you're demanding more. So, sometimes I tell people, kind of turn it up when you need to, turn it down when you don't need it. So with that said, we're ready to get going. Today's webinar is all about what BombBomb learned from watching 5,000 videos. And I want to encourage everybody here that you can continue to chat, ask questions. I love seeing the chat going. And near the end of the webinar, I will be asking the questions to Madeline so that we, the benefit of tuning in live is that you get that. At the same time, I do want to remind you that the cool thing with YouTube Live is this is instantly PVR'd, is what they say. So if, let's say, for instance, you need to pause this midway, you could actually pause this video in the middle of watching it. You could come back, watch it later. You could rewatch this if you want to rewatch this the second it's done. The link you're looking at right now on YouTube is the exact same link you'd watch the recording on. So it's really nice. At the same time, I always encourage people, if you know somebody who would benefit from watching it, maybe you have an assistant who couldn't tune in, maybe you have somebody in your office who said they've been bugging me about this stuff, I'm going to send them this webinar so they could learn it. Grab that link, share it on. I'll ask you too, if you like it, feel free to hit the little thumbs up button at one point. Always makes me feel good when I see those kind of things. So glad to see that some people have tuned in. A snowy good day for Moncton. I don't know. I'm done with snow. I'm ready to call it a day. Now, in terms of that, I just want to remind you of our nature and why we do these webinars. These webinars are all about Royal LePage's promise to you, and that Royal LePage is here to help you maximize your earning potential by providing you with powerful business tools, access to leads and referrals, and training for all stages of your career that builds your skills. And I love these webinars when I get a great external speaker, somebody who's coming from one of our preferred partners, because you're hitting two. I'm getting you, talk about powerful business tools and training all in the same time. And with that said, I want to introduce Madeline, who's on the line. Now, she is the Enterprise Solutions Director for BombBomb. Let me pull up her bio here. Oh, I'm having mouse problems. There we go. Oh, my. There we go. Now, just so you know her context and where she comes from, Madeline's actually been educating real estate brokers and agents on technology tools that can help them close more business since 2011. So I started with Royal LePage in 2009. She's a couple years behind me, in terms of, doing that side and training agents and those kind of things. But she started from Trulia and Zillow. So you can imagine the amount of experience she has and how she understands what you guys need and what you guys are trying to do. And, I was really excited when BombBomb came on as a partner because I've heard about them for years. I've heard about, how much they help people connect and the better open rates people are getting with them. So I know some people who are on the webinar, who are in the chat right now, are BombBomb users. And, we're going to help you get more out of it. At the same time, Madeline lives in Denver, has a passion for her family and volleyball. In fact, I'd asked her, I was like, hey, the only other picture I have of you, I pulled up from Google and it has a picture of your son. And she was like, well, we'll use this one for now. So with that said, I want to flip it over to Madeline for the presentation.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike, for that warm introduction, and good afternoon to everybody at Royal LePage. I'm really excited to be presenting to you. This is the second webinar that BombBomb has done exclusively for Royal LePage. And the content that I have for you today is really, it's far more than a list of tips that you might be thinking I'll be bringing you. last July, we set out to create a video influencers guide. We wanted it to be deep. We wanted it to be educational. We wanted it to be more than a list of tips or a 5-page white paper. So we put out a note to, via our blog and to our customer base and those who listen to our newsletters and watch our newsletters, and ask them to send us their videos and tell us how they're using video as an influence in their real estate business. We got back over 5,000 videos. The response was just phenomenal. And yes, we watched them all. Yes, it took an insane amount of time. But what we took out of them are what I'm going to share with you today. So the 5 best practices we learned in really building and incorporating video within your real estate business. And then the 85-page guide, which you'll all get a link to. I have it in the webinar, and then Mike will have it included in the email that you'll receive at the end of the webinar. And that's not, that is a downloadable guide. It's 85 pages long. It includes the 80 professionals who were the winners. Well, there were 50 winners and there were 30 honorable mentions. And what's cool about it is it's breaking it, oops, start my screen here. It's actually breaking video down into your all-around producers, those who are doing home tours and listing influencers, those who are creating videos that are about their community, and people who are doing live and recorded video. And it reaches into YouTube and Facebook Messenger, because all of these are part of your business. So a lot of education and a lot of value for you that we're sharing with you directly here. And we actually just launched it with Tom Ferry in December. So this is brand new information that we're sharing. And I want to take just a moment and think about video influencers and what these folks are doing, and just sort of set the context for that, because video is something which relates to a person and creates influence in a face-to-face way that's really very unique. And it's not new technology. I mean, let's be honest. In the 1950s, Coca-Cola and popcorn makers were influencing people in movie theaters with subliminal advertising to get them to become aware that maybe they were thirsty or hungry. And so video as an influencer is something that has really been around for a long time. And when we created this guide and thought about how it's working, that's how we're thinking about influence, is in a way that is very soft and subtle, and places you as a real estate expert in front of your clients and gives you that opportunity to create influence with them in a very subtle way. So that's really what we're talking about here today. And this is just some pages so that you can see how the guide looks. Definitely worth the download and worth hanging on to. Wonderful content here, and links to the videos so you can see, not just read a white page. You're going to link to the videos and you're going to see exactly what these folks are doing. All right, so let's dig in. The 5 best practices, or the 5 themes. Practice, consistency, where is the untapped opportunity, what platforms are people using and how are you choosing your platforms, and RTV versus MTV. And Mike, do you think that's music television?
That's what I assumed it was. So that's not what it is.
It's not. It's actually relationships through video versus marketing through video. So we're going to touch on that as well.
Gotcha. I'm on board.
All right. So without further ado, let's dig into the first best practice that we think about. And that is actually practicing your video. The person that you're looking at here, his name is Michael Thorne. He is a real estate agent in Fort Langley, British Columbia. And he became so good at video, he started teaching people about video. And he knew, he knew early on what he wanted to do with video. But what I'm going to share with you today are 2 videos to see where he is. So this first one is from a recent video.
Wouldn't it be amazing if you could somehow know who's watching your videos and how connected they are with its message? Well, you can. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to retarget your Facebook video views. Every video you've posted natively on a Facebook business page, every Facebook Live, whether you knew it or not, Facebook has been tracking who's been watching and for how long. Those viewers were then put into custom audiences that now you can retarget. Why is this so powerful? It allows you to customize the content with the right call to action to the right person.
So pretty great video there. He's got great lighting. He's got a great stage behind him. He's looking at the camera, and you can tell he's got some professional editing there. What I want to show you next is where he actually started. So this video, the video on top, was from 2017. And this next video I'm going to show you is one of his first videos from 2011. And I've hit play. There's not an error in the soundtrack. He inserted a 10-second pause at the beginning of his video.
Welcome to the BCHomeConsultants.com Fraser Valley Real Estate Market Update for April 2011. Now, off the top, I want to apologize for the scruff, but it's April and the Canucks are in the playoffs. In this series of videos, we look back at the previous month's stats to get a sense of what's happening in the Fraser Valley real estate market. So let's look back at March. We saw active listings increase 6.3%.
So pretty significant difference there between the videos, right? The lighting is different between them. The confidence in front, the rate of speech that he has there. But again, that came from 6 years of practice. Michael knew what why he wanted to go after video, what he was thinking about. And what he found was a partner. And that is Jesse Peters, who's also a Canadian real estate agent. And they began working together. Together, they worked faster, they grew their skill set, and they bounced ideas off of each other. By beginning and executing together, they were able to shorten their learning curve. So, recommendation here, practice and start getting it into your, don't worry about what these first videos look like. Practice and maybe find a mentor or a cohort or somebody who will join you on your video journey, maybe somebody in another market, and work with them on it. I'm going to show you a number of free resources here today. One of the first ones I want to show you, though, is actually their studio. So they launched a business last year that is Real Estate Video Studio and realestatevideonation.com. These are both free groups that you can join. The first video that you were looking at there is actually from this group, and it's education on how to do video, different channels, tons of information there. And so if you're looking at bringing video, which is, I'm hopeful why you're all here, looking at bringing video into your daily business, these are 2 terrific resources for you that are free. And they're geared at real estate. All right, so let's move on to the second. So we want to practice. And the second way to get successful in video in your day-to-day business is consistency. This is Jessica Edwards. She's in Wilmington, North Carolina, and she was the winner in the recorded video category. She's also somebody who has been doing this for a long time, and she has posted every week for 9 years. And here is just a scroll of what her videos, of what's going on with her videos. She works with buyers, sellers, homeowners, renters, and agent, and she does these videos. The topics come from her frequently asked questions from the people that are in her client base. And with 9 years of videos, she has over 1.6 million views. What we see, these are actually her YouTube videos as well. So this has become an evergreen marketing campaign for her. She's searchable there, and she is consistently there. As you're watching this scroll, you're probably noticing that a lot of these videos are actually in the same location, and they are in her car, believe it or not. Let's take a look at one of her videos and then chat about what her strategy is here.
Hey everyone, it's Jessica Edwards in Wilmington, North Carolina. Today I want to talk about questions you should ask when buying a home. And we get asked all kinds of questions all the time from our buyers, but there are a few questions that we hear over and over and over and feel like are very pertinent to every buyer that you should ask when buying a home. The first one is, how much home can I afford? And this may sound like a really obvious question, like, duh, Jessica, I'm buying a home, I need to know how much I can afford. But what a lot of people get caught up on is the purchase price. And what I want you to always remember is that when you're buying a house, you don't live with that purchase price, you live with the monthly payment. So it is absolutely critical that before you start searching online.
Oops, went past it. So let's break down what she's doing here. She was actually struggling for months in her appearance and getting on camera, and she was struggling with with what to do. And one day she was in her car and she was early for an appointment, and she recorded a video that was answering a question that she gets over and over and over again. What she found was the lighting was good. She was using her iPhone on the dash of her car. She had good sound because she's in a nice, quiet environment in her enclosed car. The lighting is natural light, natural sunlight that's coming in on her. So she virtually needed no equipment. And she did it when she was, early for an appointment in that first 15 minutes. So this became her habit. So that once a week, when she had 15 minutes in the car, beginning or end of the day, wherever she was, probably where it was a good, relaxing 15 minutes, she would find one of her frequently asked questions, or go to her running list of topics, and take about 15 minutes and record that video. And what happened was this evergreen marketing campaign, which, as I mentioned, has 1.6 million views. It's really been strong for her. So go ahead.
I got one question just to clarify, because you mentioned a couple times, you mentioned evergreen content.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that everybody on the webinar quite understands what exactly is evergreen content. I mean, it's a term that's been out there quite a bit, but just wonder if you could define it for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So evergreen content is questions. In this case, it's questions about real estate that are always there. They're not tied to a specific listing or property or city. They can be looked at over and over and over again across a few years, and the answers are relevant. So it's videos that can be used over and over again or watched over and over again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. Thank you so much. I just wanted to make sure that that was clear for everybody. I'll let you keep going.
Yeah, thank you. So that's Jessica. So obviously through doing this for 9 years, she did create a lot of practice time for herself. But the important part about Jessica's story is really this consistency that she built in what she was doing. So thinking for a moment about how to be consistent. Consistency comes from habits and from having a trigger that comes into place for you. So for her, it was arriving early for an appointment, but having that habit. When you have lunch, you will do, maybe when you have lunch on Wednesdays, that's when you're going to do your video. Or maybe you're going to do a Monday morning video. Or maybe the next time you get a lead, you're going to prompt yourself to send out a video in response to that lead. So plan for the habit. Think about, what that trigger would be for you so that you have a plan around that consistency, a plan to be consistent rather. And here is a list of mental triggers to think about incorporating into your business so that you have a trigger for when you're going to be bringing video into your business, when you're going to record that video. And then you have, so you're practicing it, and then you have a trigger for when you're going to do it. So you're setting down those two core blocks to getting your video strategy going. Which then leads us to a third block, which is around creating content and around what your video information will be. For example, Michael's is he wants to train people on video, but it also started with community videos about Fort Langley, British Columbia. And this is what Marguerite Martin is, who is the next winner in our video influencers contest that I wanted to share with you. She is from Tacoma, Washington, and her category was community and neighborhood videos. These are also evergreen videos because they're not home tours that are going to be tied to a certain short life. They really are over time showing her intense understanding of the Tacoma area and living in Tacoma, as well as the market itself. And there's not enough people making these videos. So this is really a place that we see at BombBomb, at least, we see this as a huge opportunity in video right now, and as a way that just ties in beautifully to your profession in real estate and in really putting your stamp down on where is your area. Just one example, in addition to Marguerite, another client of ours, Nick Baldwin, he also does community tours. And what he does is every time he is out on a family outing, he records a video of the community and where he's at. So it allows him to share a little bit about his family, which then enables people to get to know, like, and trust him through seeing him and through seeing the community through his eyes. But over time, it's also creating information about his community and tying him as the community expert. So let's take a look at this video by Marguerite and another Tacoma real estate broker.
Hey, Ann, time to get back to work. What do you want to do? I really want to go back to work. Let's just go do Tacoma. Like, take a tour. Let's do it. Show everybody around. Yeah. So first, obviously, we have to stop for coffee. Obviously, we're going to do a real tour of Tacoma. So we're going to go to your place. That's the only place. We're going to start with Valhalla, the best coffee in Tacoma.
So great video here. Obviously, it does have some professional equipment there that's in use. This particular video has 5,100 views. The goal of the video is to show what it's like to live in Tacoma. And again, this is a video category that very few people are doing. Plus, as you're featuring other businesses that are in the area, local businesses that you know from your clients are an important part of living in that community, that presents a massive opportunity for you to demonstrate local. Only you can really demonstrate local information and companies the way you know it versus the national sites. And it can increase shares by highlighting businesses that you may share along the way, in this example with the coffee shops. From here, you can actually take videos like this then and send them out via text. So you could text them a home tour. You can share a video like this out to YouTube, out to your Facebook, or out to your phone to specific people, maybe in response to a question, tell me about Tacoma. And sharing, another highlight to look at is how easy it's become to share videos through a number of services, BombBomb included, but also off your phone and off other services. You're able to share videos directly through a text message. Not complicated. You can share them over and over again, and it becomes a great way to keep those videos there and increase views. So this gives us practicing what we're doing, finding a mental trigger so it becomes consistent and becomes part of your business, choosing content that resonates with you, that's part of how you professionally build your business. And in this example, we think there's a huge opportunity in community videos. And now our next thought is, how are we going to share these? How do I know? When do I want to go to Facebook? When do I want to go to YouTube? Who's doing what and what's going on? And let's dig into those two first, because Facebook and YouTube are really, I mean, these are where videos are playing today. When you're in Facebook, it's constantly in your stream. When you go to YouTube, you're going there specifically for a purpose. So let's stack these two up side by side and chat about when you would use them. Facebook is going to be there for your in the moment content, simple ideas, branding that you're doing, attention. That is what people are going to Facebook for. YouTube, people are going there for more of a purpose. You're going there maybe looking for a specific video, or looking for how many of you have started out a search with how to da-da-da-da-da-da. In fact, I just did it getting ready for this webinar. I didn't know how to hardwire my MacBook Air for this webinar. So I went to YouTube, how to hardwire your MacBook Air. And I came up with 3 little solutions, and I went to Target, and walla walla, there I was. So YouTube has really become a place where you go with purpose. And it's a searchable purpose. So the videos that you create that are those evergreen videos that we've been talking about, you can share them and create a channel on YouTube so that they are searching up in results over and over again. Another important reason, and again, this is a spoiler, because you really want, once you get here, you're going to want to be on Facebook and on YouTube. Google doesn't return Facebook results. Well, Facebook isn't really searchable either, right? Unless you know the person who posted a certain video, it's very difficult to go back to Facebook and search it. Whereas YouTube is very searchable, and Google will return YouTube results. Another spoiler, Google actually owns YouTube, so that might have something to do with it. But again, Facebook not searchable, in the moment content, YouTube searchable. Google will return your YouTube videos. So it can start to play in your SEO strategy, which is not what this is about, and I am not an expert in it. But this is the place to put your evergreen content, your tutorials. Facebook is the place to put those small, in the moment, maybe the new coffee shop in the area. And there are other channels that you want to think about for where you are sharing your videos. And I mentioned that there are communication methods so that you can email, text, Facebook Messenger. I don't know how you all are feeling, but I'm almost feeling like my Facebook Messenger is as accessible to me as text. And it's almost the same level of information. So being able to send your messages out, or excuse me, your videos out through Facebook Messenger is also really key. And Instagram, this is another wonderful resource that I have to share with you today in terms of how to market in real estate. Take these videos and how to market and build yourself a lead platform through Instagram. And this is a link. Honey Bar Media put together a guide on Instagram real estate, which Instagram actually has a deeper level of engagement than Facebook. It's still not searchable or that like YouTube, but it does have a more engaged audience, and a way for people, because they're more engaged, they can reach back out to you. And it's becoming a very real business generation tool and channel for real estate agents. So I would definitely go check out that download. Also free content there. All of this is free content for you. And that's about Instagram when you're ready to go to that platform. So we're practicing, we're doing it once a week, and we know when we're doing it. We have our content down. We know where we're sharing it. And the last thing to chat about is marketing through video versus relationships through video. A lot of what we've seen is marketing through video. It's using equipment and lighting and drones and crews, and this requires a pretty significant investment. eventually you will want to get there. And I'm sure many of you are there with your listing videos, and you may own your own Matterport cameras. I'm sure many of you are there. This is a pretty intense way, though, to create consistency and to do videos over and over again. And so what we would advocate for is thinking about relationships through video. The videos with the equipment that you have in front of you today, the web camera that's on your laptop, your phone, and relating to people in that face-to-face way, influencing their response to your email or to the lead that they sent to you by putting your face in front of them right away, creating that memory maybe when their offer is accepted, and putting your face as a stamp on that memory with them through a video in that moment. That's what we mean by relationships through video. And it's not with equipment, it's with equipment that everybody has, including the phone that's in your hand right now. So I have one example to show you of what that looks like. And this is Kyle. Kyle was a winner in our recorded video category. No other real estate professional has recorded and sent more videos than he has. He's done 7,600 videos in the last 3 years. And they are all for the purpose of building relationships and growing his business. Let's take a look at it and see what I mean by relationships through video.
Hi, Josh. Kyle No with the OKFindMyHome.com website. I want to take just a brief moment to quick video email to put a face with the name and to thank you for your interest in the Northwest Oklahoma City home listing. Doesn't matter whether you're just kind of browsing at this time, thinking about the possibility of buying a home in the future, or if you're actually thinking about buying a home in the next 60 to 90 days, or sometimes it's a little bit later this year. We're here to help you and answer any questions you may have and provide you with the level of service that.
So does that look like a video that any of us could create right now? He doesn't have fancy lighting. It's in his home office, and what he's using the equipment that he has. He does these with a simple webcam at his desk. So the goal here, or the concept here behind relationships, is it's giving him a good ROI and improving his relationships, or he wouldn't have done 7,600 videos. And it's not a cumbersome process where you have to script it, light it, record it, and create something that has more of that actual video feel. This is really very authentic, very him. He's looking at the camera, talking to the camera, and speaking to a lead that came in and just trying to warm them up. And so that is our, that's the last best tip that we have to share, is that relationships through video are successful and can be done by being authentic and being not using a bunch of equipment. The last thing you will receive this link in your video influencers guide, but it has an introduction from Tom Ferry. So there's a couple of links to the same guide, which I would definitely say download, take a look at it, think about where you want your content to be, and take the top 10 list from Tom Ferry and think about what he's recommending and why video he sees as in the next business. BombBomb, of course, was not used in all of the videos that's there, but it can be a core strategy for you to start your video and start those video relationships. And you can learn more about what BombBomb offers exclusively for Royal LePage at the link below. And that concludes the whole presentation. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and would love to take any questions.
Yeah, I'll turn mine off too. So we'll encourage everybody who's on the webinar. A couple people mentioned the last video was a little hard to hear, but I kind of said, the idea was there of, again, he's it's all about just making the videos in the moment. So there's one question that there was quite some discussion around it, and that is a question around the editing software that is easy to use. So just like, what is the best editing software that's easy to use? It came from actually two people from Royal LePage Signature.
Okay.
From Darren Parrott and Ken Finch. And I'll invite other people to ask their questions. Any thoughts on that?
I know that there's a couple of programs that are out there. I think it partially depends on what your equipment is, but why don't I follow up on that one? Because I don't know any off the top of my head.
Yeah, and there was some lively chat around, iMovie, those kind of things.
Right.
I had a couple realtors, Chris Logan, who was talking about where is it? Where he talked about a Splice app, which has a ton of music in it. I mentioned some of the ones that I've heard recently. Filmora, Power Director are out there as well. But yeah, we'll see what else is coming up.
Okay.
One question we have around the offer that BombBomb has for Royal LePage. What is the cost? Now that is coming from Michael McCullough. Let's see if I can pull up where he's from. And as you said, you can find all those details if you just go to bombbomb.com/Royal LePage.
Right. So we are offering, it's actually a substantial discount for Royal LePage. It's about 20% discount from our normal subscription costs. And it actually offers our best value, which is Individual Plus, for $468 US per year. Normally that is $588 per year US.
Nice. And that's coming from Michael, Royal LePage Terra Equity out here in Toronto. There you go. I was looking it up. Oh man, come on. He typed it in the chat at the same time. And one thing that I will, one thing that was mentioned last time, actually, there were a couple people last time in the chat who were BombBomb subscribers and were talking about you guys having your grandfathered rates.
Right. Once you sign on with BombBomb, you will not have a rate increase unless you change your subscription, and then you would move to the then current pricing. But your pricing is set really permanently and ever grandfathered in.
Yeah, and some people who were saying because one of the persons who was on the call last time had said they signed up when they were really early with BombBomb. So they're like, I got an awesome deal, and it was like, well, that's all the more if people who had signed up last time, you're more locked in.
Yeah.
So let's see. So one question I have here: it's pretty easy for your Facebook friends to contact you directly if they have a question. How does someone from YouTube, and that comes from Craig Armstrong with Royal LePage Team Realty. So I mean, I don't know how, I know YouTube fairly well. What do you think, Madeline?
Well, with YouTube, I know you set yourself up with a page and a contact mechanism through that, which then I would assume would come to you via email or via text message.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. You get an email when somebody comments on your video or asks a question. You actually get an email to you, so that way you know. And the nice thing with it is, of course, your answer becomes publicly available as well, so people can see. And it really reinforces, like you said, that relationship side of things. You're there. You're not just putting these things out. You are actually listening to people. Right.
And the best pages and the best videos are the ones where you're commenting and responding to the comments that you're getting. I mean, whether you're doing and posting your videos on Facebook or on social media, any other channels, that will help you to raise up in the results.
And the other thing too is also it gives you cannon fodder. If you realize, hey, this video is getting a lot of questions, do a follow-up, right?
Right, exactly.
Let's see here. Next question I got. So this one I think is I really want to know your take on this, and I think this goes to your RTV versus MTV question. So the question is: all videos you've shown have a realtor in them. Is there an advantage to not having a person in the video, but real estate or relevant content instead? And that comes from Christine Morrison Grace, who's with Royal LePage Atlantic out in Nova Scotia, Halifax.
Oh, well. So the goal of much of what we're showing is to build the business of the individual real estate agents who are participating. So they want their face there because they're using it to build a connection with somebody and they want their face in the video so that that eye contact is there and they can see who they are. However, there is a major trend in video to not show yourself, as well as in photos, to not show yourself throughout the whole thing. And that was represented in some of the videos too, where it was the area of what was happening or where it was being filmed and not the person.
Nice. And that, yeah, like I said, I think it really ties into a lot. I mean, that's, to be fair, before we started this webinar, most of the webinars that I do don't have a presenter in them, but we thought, given what we are talking about today, we were like, well, we're kind of forced to put our webcams on. And actually, I'm in a fairly decent office, though the lighting for me is kind of garbage coming over here. But, you know, again, it works. It works. Right. It builds a connection.
Right.
So I'm not seeing any questions in the chat now, but I'll give people a chance to do that. In the meantime, what I want to do is I'm just going to flip over to my quick little bit of presentation here. And that's to remind everybody on the webinar today that we do webinars every week. We're running webinars, and you can find all of our webinars at royallepage.ca/training. If you go to the webinar section, you'll see registration links. So webinars we got coming up on March 21st. I have the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing, who are going to come in and talk a little bit about the luxury marketing thing. And soon to be announced, I'm actually going to be putting out a webinar on how to create your own Facebook chatbot. So that's going to be a really fun one for everybody to tune in. I'm also going to encourage you to check out royallepage.ca/training for our current workshop training program. So my team, what we do is twice a year, we travel the country, go to offices all over the place. And you can see exactly where we are at royallepage.ca/training. What we are talking about in this session is all about helping you convert more leads to sales. We know a lot of agents who, really struggle with online leads and exactly how to work them. So we want to show everybody the process, and it's, the simple process you can use and leveraging the tools you have to really convert more leads, and as well as increasing conversions on your Facebook ads. So just to mention those, a couple things. So royallepage.ca/training, I'll mention those. And I got a couple more questions coming in. So I'm going to flip back to my webcam here, and let's see here. Another question. Well, and this one, I think, we did address this last time. It came in last time as well. But what is the real benefit of using BombBomb over just recording a video on the phone and sending it that way? And that's coming from Darren Parrott from Royal LePage Signature, again from Toronto.
Right. So I'm so glad that they asked, and thank you. The part of the benefit of using BombBomb is being able to record it and save it and share it easily with just simple clicks across multiple platforms. But also we provide you with tracking so that after you have emailed that video out, for example, you will know when somebody has watched it or has opened the video from you. So the tracking and the analytics are big there. Being able to reuse your video and to have it always go out, wrapped in your brand with your contact information at the bottom.
Yeah, and the key here also, again, is that speed to do it. I mean,
yes.
Those people, I know I work with Richard Robbins. They use BombBomb as part of their thing, and we'll have a meeting, and then half an hour later, I'll get an email from them being like, hey, and I see them, and then they're just like, hey, so awesome to have seen you. And that's it's the speed to get that up going.
Right.
So
it's a simple one click, and we're hosting it in the cloud versus recording it and then downloading a file or attaching a file, which should have probably been my #1 video reason, because you don't have to send files.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not, I know I get them from my parents all the time, and I'm like, oh, am I going to download this?
Right.
But I have to, but
of course.
So another question, have any of the agents who have continued to do those videos over the years, Kyle No, Jessica Edwards, have they mentioned how much business has come from their videos? And this is from Daniela Rodriguez. She's from Royal LePage Frank in Whitby. And she's just saying, she just followed that up with just curious about the conversion over the years of using it from a consistency perspective.
Let me see. I think I don't have specifics in here. But I do know that we have testimonials from people who are able to track tens of thousands of dollars of ROI back from their BombBomb videos and from the relationship. So once they have started using BombBomb, they have seen within a matter of months, that ROI coming back to them.
Yeah. And you know, it's not even just on that. The other thing I'll say too is that, you know, I go on the road, I train hundreds of agents, and I love typing. FYI, I love to type. I've been typing since I was like 12 years old. It's something I love to do. A lot of agents are not like that. A lot of agents don't enjoy typing, you know. So what I tell them is, the cool thing with this is you go, well, now you don't need to type anymore. You just record a video.
That's right.
So, you know, how much easier is it to record a quick video saying, hey, I got your email. Thanks so much for reaching out. Sorry, I dropped my pen.
Yep.
But, you know, thanks so much for reaching out. And yeah, we'll be in touch, than having to type all that out, especially, you know, some realtors really struggle over the smartphone.
Oh,
so.
Right. And PS, we can talk 4 times faster than we can type. So efficiency comes in as well.
That's evidenced when, you know, you and I tested this this webinar via type. It was, you know, 6 hours long. These are the jokes, people. These are the jokes. All right. Well, I'm looking through the questions. I mean, I'll give another quick second to see. You know, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, you know, I'll say I've had a lot of realtors ask me about, you know, doing videos. What do I do? What do I need to do? Oh, what should I set up? And all this. And you know, like you said here, look, like, just start. And I really appreciated the example you gave at the start there, because like you said, this is not something that overnight he was doing all this great video editing and making it really compelling and energetic. That first video, like, what was the start? It was like 10 seconds of silence.
A 10-second silence, right?
Yeah, like,
and
I'm
in
out.
design, yeah, exactly. In design standards today, people would assume that video is not working, because if Google doesn't return sound within 2 seconds, people move on.
I actually thought there was an error with it when you hit play. And when you started to say, you'll note I hit play, I thought you were going to say, you'll note I hit play, I'm hitting a technical snag. And I was like, no. So
yeah, pretty big change there. Yeah, there's more, you know, just to close out on that guide, there's more ideas and inspiration to be found in the guide. I highlighted 3 people. And the video guide is broken out by category with 80 professionals in there. You can see their videos, steal from what they've done to get started. Do it free on your phone. Do it in Facebook Messenger. Of course, we would love to have you check out BombBomb and use BombBomb to get started in video too. But I think it's really a trend, and it's the next wave to help you genuinely build business that is here and now and not changing.
I couldn't have said it better myself, which is why I didn't say it. Well, I want to say thanks so much. Firstly, the audience, everybody who tuned in, thanks so much for coming in, for joining in live. Thank you so very much for the questions that you've typed in. It really helps to, you know, I want to make sure you get the most out of Madeline's time here. You have somebody with a lot of experience who's coming in, again, in terms of that real estate experience. So one person is just asking, Michael McCullough is actually just about the question around the link or the book for sign up. So I will be sending that link as well as the link to the recording of this video in about 40 minutes time. So it's set up to go out automatically. So at about 3:30 Eastern time, you will get a link to the video. I'm going to try to take all some of the links that were mentioned here and put that together in that email for you. One last question for you. Is there any free trial on BombBomb? Is that something that's offered or no?
Absolutely. There's a 2-week free trial. So you can
go.
sign up. Yep, you can sign up for a 2-week free trial. And my coworker, Rob, who's actually also on the video, will reach out then and and he's the person who works with all of our Royal LePage agents and brokers. And we'll make sure that you understand everything, get the correct pricing, and help you out.
And awesome. And I want to thank you, of course, Madeline. Thank you so very much for your time. Thanks for coming out and doing this awesome presentation and giving those, I know I took quite a few notes myself, so I'm looking forward to digesting that report as well. And, from Royal LePage Learning Services, we'll see everybody next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.